This is David Waters with Gators Breakdown, bringing you a preview of a Gators Breakdown Plus chat. If you want to join Gators Breakdown Plus and take part in chats like these, link is in the description below to join. All right, let's get this going. Got back with you guys last week for a chat, and man, that one turned out lively. I've shared a couple of previews of it on YouTube a bit and got some feedback from that, of course, but we talked about being kind of Billy Napier's tenure and maybe how year two will go and what it means, maybe to be patient with this process, but also we talked a little bit of Graham Mertz last week too, and kind of some polarizing talk there last week. So, like I said, spring practice going over, we got a little bit more availability, so definitely bringing the chats back with you Gators Breakdown Plus members. I'm still trying to decide, trying to get us some more members in here, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this episode yet. I may share the whole thing just to give people a preview of what we do here, but thank you guys for hopping on one more week here with this Gator Breakdown Plus chat. So, look, I think transfer portal is probably the biggest topic I think we can kind of discuss tonight, but we can go anywhere you guys want to. But it is the first time we have got together since Lindell Hudson transfer. We kind of got that preview tease last week. If you were listening here in the chat, we did preview that a bit. Didn't want to throw a name out there. I was told not to throw a name out there. But of course, it kind of came out Friday that he was visiting. And I was told that Monday, if the visit went well, he would likely commit to the Gators. And that's exactly what happened. So Lindell Hudson transferring from FIU via a recent commit to USF. Did one Lindell Hudson. And then, of course, I think ask, what does the starting offensive line look like? I think we can continue that conversation a little bit after spring practice. And Hudson coming in now, maybe even talk about the portal overall. I think Florida might be done in the portal here, I think, where we're at here, May 17th as we record this. And the portal's kind of dwindling down. Not many names, big names left. You might see some others filter out, but I think, there are not many spots left for Florida overall anyway, so I think we'll see where it goes. Not many names left for the Gators after some recent commits to some other places this week. Transfer portal, plenty of places to go with that. But I can open it up and see what you guys think about Hudson. I did put that episode out. It was, Saturday? Yeah, he committed Saturday to the Gators. Did a quick episode about that, trying to get everybody back with their Mother's Day routine. But Lindell Hudson transferring from FIU/USF. This is kind of a weird, transfer committed to USF. I think it was back on May the 3rd, and kind of weird how it all transpired with, I think Florida losing that on Josh Simmons probably played a part in this too. If Josh Simmons would have been in the fold, I don't think you go and bring in Hudson, but with that happening, him going to Ohio State, never visiting Florida. Josh Simmons, of course, talking about there that left another roster, another roster spot there for Lindell Hudson. So not chopped liver. I know FIU, you scream at that, but 1,600 snaps, quality snaps there. I think he puts himself firmly in the competition there on the right side, and we kind of see what happens there. But get you guys' thoughts if you want to hop in of the recent transfer of Hudson coming in.
Well, I mean, I think he'll play no matter what. I mean, regardless of how good he is, not how good he is, but I'm saying is it, because somebody's going to get hurt on the offensive line where we're going to need him to step in and play.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Florida still got a lot of questions on that right side. There is nothing solidified there on the right side of that offensive line. So I think it definitely opens it up for him to come in here, like Damian George, Keontae Goodwin, the main cogs there on that right side from the spring. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes there on the right side. I don't think it's set in stone at all. I think you look at these three guys that they brought in through the transfer portal. It's going to be your main three that they figure out for that. Look, it might be. I see George's name thrown out there at that right tackle spot. I'm still not sure about that. I know he, when Rob Sale spoke in spring, he did bring up, look, we recruited him for a tackle. He's going to stay at tackle, but then after some injuries and some things along the offensive line, he was playing guard at parts of spring practice. Then Keontae Goodwin, of course, needs some experience coming over from Kentucky. And then Hudson brings the most snaps, and not high level snaps, of course, the FIU level. But we've seen Napier and them kind of evaluate pretty good here along the offensive line and through the transfer portal. So we'll see kind of where Hudson ends. But you bring those three names up, but they're along that right side of the offensive line, and hope when spring or when fall camp comes around that Hudson's not too far behind the other two. But he is going to be behind there. But I don't think that affect him too much. We see too much in college football now of guys being able to step in right away. Don't worry.
Okay.
What's up, Eddie?
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Been a while.
Yeah, jumping in real quick just to listen up on us, hear what's going on.
Yeah, man.
It's been great, and hopefully we can keep this thing going and finish up strong the recruiting season and be on to a nice, 9-win season, right? I heard that said earlier today.
There we go. I'll take that. I'll take that in a heartbeat. Speaking of recruiting, I'm kind of looking forward a bit. I'm going to do like a board reset. As we go into those busy June first couple of weekends, that where recruits are coming on campus like crazy the first couple of weeks. A lot of big names coming up. So look for that the next week or so on Gators Breakdown, guys. And kind of really gonna tap into the board here where Florida's going into those big 2-visit weekends coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think those visits are important. Dave, going back to Hudson, I don't think it ever hurts to bring in depth of that size. I mean, the kid's got good size, so if he can move and if he could play, like, depth is going to be needed. So I think he was a good get. It's certainly it's not like he's going to make us worse. We have the spot open. Why not pick him up and see if he can play? But we really need to figure out offensive line recruiting from the high school level, so we're not relying on this transfer stuff year after year after year, because that's just not going to work in the SEC.
Yeah, I don't mind it to start off with. Of course, early in Napier's tenure, I think it's kind of a necessary evil right now. But at the same time, if you had gotten your Okunlola, your last go around, or if you have been able to recruit some of these elite. I like what they've done inside. I like Harris. I like Kearney. But we do still have some questions along that tackle spot as far as high school recruiting goes. So you want to be able to develop elite offensive linemen coming in, and that's going to take some time. Well, the elite ones aren't in yet from the high school level. So the transfer portal is the path right now to get some already somewhat developed guys. You hope that you can develop them further, from the likes of FIU along the offensive line there, of course. The staff can always point to what they did at Louisiana and recently with Louisiana and Florida transfer Osiris Torrance. So, you've been able to develop at that lower level and make it transfer where everybody sees that development. But now, we need to see that at the tackle spot. We need these tackle spots to be solidified, and we'll see where high school recruiting goes this go around for tackles. And I know there's a few names out there, but missing out last cycle and that transition class too. That you're 2 classes in now where you don't have an elite offensive lineman to point to. And that's not to say they won't develop any of the guys that they have at that spot, but I think you can see now the way they're attacking the portal that it's a necessary evil right now, and I agree with you. Hopefully it's not necessary to hit the transfer portal so much along the offensive line, and you can develop the guys that you bring in. But at the same time, we got to see them bring those offensive tackles in.
Dave, why do you think that we struggle so bad in the transfer portal, getting like the elite guys? It seems like that Napier recruits the portal the way Mullen recruited the high school recruits.
That's a neat little correlation there. I can't really disagree with it too much either. Look, he talked about it. It is a process, and I hope at some point we won't have to sit here and say, this is a learning experience. This is the portal can still be a learning experience somewhat. He's been on the job just over a year now, but I do think through these first 2 cycles here, I do think there's a look in the mirror that needs to come and see what they need. Because from what I could gather, they were not happy with what happened with Simmons and not being able to visit and ends up going to Ohio State. I had heard Napier was not too happy about how that played out. So maybe that kind of set some things in motion to where some things change. But yeah, this process of taking their time and thinking the issue is they think they have more time. And so maybe that's where you start seeing some changes. Maybe there's a realization now we don't have as much time as we thought we did. These high school, and kind of comparing it to the transfer portal, it seems to be opposite. High school guys, it may be that last visit that stays with them and they commit to that last visit. But for these transfers, for whatever reason, whether it be tampering or whether it be something else, it does seem like these early visits are paying off in the transfer portal. So I think, Florida's really going to fight tooth and nail about getting those first visits, or at least sending a message to, hey, don't commit. If you went somewhere else first, at least give us a chance to counter. At least give us a chance to visit and turn this. So as far as looking for a reason, I think just probably a little too patient. And I hope down the road that this is something they revisit and know that it has to change. And look, there may be an evaluation period, but as we've kind of joked about, and look, maybe it's a tongue-in-cheek comment, but I do think it holds weight. You have this staff of Army. You have this Army. You have this big, large staff that this is part of their job to evaluate and always keep an eye on who could enter the transfer portal. So this whole evaluation period. Now, look, there may be some players you're not expecting to hit the transfer portal, but at the same time, you should be in front of this a bit more if that's what's causing the slowdown.
Do you think, Dave, that maybe we're getting a little overconfident as far as like trying like, oh man, maybe we got Carter, maybe we had Simmons in the bag, and maybe they just like, all right, well, y'all can go visit there because we're so confident we're going to get you. We don't care if you would go visit those places because we're getting you no matter what. Do you think that's maybe some of what's going on too?
I could see that for Simmons. Carter, I don't know enough about. If that's the case, Simmons, I do think that could be part of it. I do think Florida felt good. I think there was a reason to feel good from everything I could gather. But we know how it played out. So, I do think there's some lessons to be learned, whether you feel good or not, whether the recruit's telling you one thing or not. You've got to say, all right, we're going to move ourselves into getting these guys in early, getting these guys in first. Because his name escapes me right now. Look, I don't know how deep Florida was into it, but the tight end from North Texas that committed to Arkansas, decommitted and recommitted back to Arkansas. I don't know why his name escapes me right now, but he that was another one. Florida didn't even get in to the mix here. You'd love to try.
It was Gums.
Yeah,
Gums,
right? Yes, yeah. So there were a few targets out there that I do wish we would have seen what would have happened if Florida could have got him on campus.
Dave, not as much with Gums because he went to Arkansas, but for guys going to like Notre Dame and Ohio State, do you think that the expectation of how good the team will be in the next year could be factoring in more than it would like with a high school kid who's like, oh, okay, we'll come in with a class and we'll build the program up. Well, like if you're going to be in there 1 or 2 years as a transfer, maybe you just want to win right away.
Oh, I absolutely think that's part of it. And I'd be foolish not to think so. Yeah, some of these guys, especially the guys that are on their tail end of their career, they want to go somewhere. I think they think they can compete for titles, and or choose a school where you'll be developed, and maybe that can really help you with your NFL chances. I think those are probably two things guys are looking for the most. And I think if they have high NFL aspirations at the same time, that's where I think Florida can maybe come in and maybe sway them a bit. Like Mazuka along the offensive line, they get the guy, the guard from Baylor. They can look, Florida can pinpoint what they did with somebody like Osiris Torrance. And I think that speaks for somebody like him. But at the same time, your guys who are committing to your other big schools and your competitors, your Alabamas, your Ohio States, and Notre Dame, we could throw in that. They had a little bit of a rough season last year as well. But at the same time, I think Florida, for whatever reason, has more of a stink on them, a stigma on them, more compared to somebody like Notre Dame right now for whatever reason. So, I absolutely do think if they can go to a contender, they're going to look at that. If you want to join Gators Breakdown Plus and take part in chats like these, link is in the description below to join.
Want more Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus, starting at $3 a month. get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat room, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today.